Okay, so we've got a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Elisa here. You're somebody who's been involved in helping the younger generation find purpose, meaning, and just understand the future of work and what that really is. I mean, there's just a lot that's happening right now with new technologies disrupting how work's going to look like. People are concerned about it; they're unaware of what jobs will look like going forward, and they don't even really know how to prepare for that. And you've really built out a system that gives people the opportunity to be future proof in their roles and what they're going to go after in life. So I'm excited to have you here and talk about all that you've been up to.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. And just honored to be here. Thrilled to have the discussion and engage with you and your listeners. So I'm ready when you are to get started. Oh, and by the way, happy pre-Thanksgiving.
You too. So how did you get interested in helping a younger generation? Was there some sort of experience you had when you were growing up and you're like, hey, I wish somebody, would have prepared me for what was to come? What made you interested in this space?
Yeah, great question. And I've had some really interesting experiences. I grew up in a family, humble beginnings, and we Midwest grew up in the Midwest, and my parents instilled in us values of hard work, discipline, education, and giving back to others. And so I always thought that, I didn't know actually what I was going to do final in terms of after school. They had a rule when you're 18, you get out. You either have to go to college, you go into the military, or you get a job. You just couldn't stay home after 18. And so I had actually been dancing. I was had scholarships to do classical ballet. And up to 16, I was dancing 5 to 7 days a week. And that's where I thought perhaps my path would be. But the education that my parents had instilled in us really took me to a different direction where I said, you know what? I'd like to actually do some type of public service. Got into colleges, we didn't have the money for me to go. And so through mentors and people guiding me, I found ways in which that I could actually get a college degree, serve my country, and stay in shape. And that was through going to the West Point Military Academy. Every step on my journey, I was fortunate and blessed that some way, somehow, someone stepped in and was willing to help me. And I realized that a lot of young people don't always have that. And in the world we live in today, there's so much change, so much disruption that started this organization. It was a predecessor of an organization I started a couple decades ago. And that organization is a part of Win NextGen, which is our organization. It's focused on making sure we brought and had more women and girls into the science, technology, engineering, and math fields. And a couple of years ago, as we were going through a digital disruption of transforming the organization from analog to digital, I had employers, I had companies, I had young people, boys saying, can we join GAN? There's a lot going on. We want help. I had employers saying, we need to touch base with and connect with all of our youth. And universities, colleges, community colleges, unions, folks were saying and we agreed and we understood every young person matters now. So demographics are shifting, lower birth rates. We just don't have enough people in our ecosystem to fulfill the jobs, what we call the 3S workforce. So that's STEM, supply chain, and the skilled trades. And I can talk more about the data. But that was the gist of it. I was these young people now, and part of my legacy that I want to leave really is very simple. Is I want it to be said, well done, my faithful servant. I use my gifts, my talents, my abilities to make a difference for many on this earth, and that this will be something that's sustainable that can give back for generations.
So how did you start the organization? Like, what was the initial first steps of building this out and getting young people to be involved?
Yeah, so a couple decades ago, the predecessor organization I started, I'd been mentoring for a number of years, and when I started at my law firm, so was in the army, got hurt, had to figure out what was I going to do with my life. And I was able to use my military funding, they call it the GI Bill, to go back to school and get a law degree. And so I was the first lawyer in my family when I started at my law firm, it was in New York. They said, you know what? I just started this organization. You can bring it with you and we'll serve as your pro bono counsel. And so from that point on, this was 2 decades ago, is we started, my law school allowed us to use the space for after school weekend programs. We developed partnerships with summer programs across the country that would allow our students to come and participate in science, technology, engineering, and math type courses. It was very grassroots based. We worked with the local schools, we worked with schools in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and that's how we continued to grow. Served over thousands of participants, have served and been able to send kids off to young people off to, for scholarship opportunities to the tune of several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the folks that stay in touch with us, well, some of our young people, they've come back to serve in leadership capacities within our new organization. So it's a testament to see the full cycle.
How has your background as an Army veteran really helped you in helping to shape, the foundation of young people?
Oh, uh, it's a great question. And so as I shared, I didn't know a lot about the military. My dad had been in the
Mhm.
Navy. I knew that there was going to be discipline involved. And the Army really helped instill in me a sense and understanding of leadership. And when, leadership can mean a lot to different people. Very simply, the way I define leadership is the ability to inspire and influence others to accomplish a mission in order to make an organization better. And what we say at Win NextGen, in order to actually operationalize that definition, we have 5 C's. That's consistency to purpose. It's compassion. It's compassion for people. It's compassion and collaboration for the organizations. It's commitment to the mission and to execution. And finally, it's a can do mindset. And so that military experience for me really helped instill one, the overall definition of leadership, and also to, along my journey, really grasp those 5 C's, that framework that we like to use, to ensure that you've got to be able to inspire and you've got to be able to connect with others. And you have to have that can do mindset, which allows that persistence and it creates that resilience. Entrepreneurship is not easy, I'm sure, as you know, but it's definitely something that I believe I can actually serve and exemplify those traits around leadership to our young people, because having that sense of leadership, especially to navigate today's disruptive and transformative forces, it's super important.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just about preparing a younger generation for challenges and that they're going to face them, and they've got to be able to overcome them. Like too much of this, there's just too much soft stuff, I would say, out there. Like people are just, they've got to just keep going, and be unafraid and have that mentality. And that's the only way great things get achieved. And we can't overlook that. I think it's interesting the way that you try to connect people with their industries and help them figure out where they want to go and be at in life. How do you identify some of these directions? Is it just some sort of assessment you're doing of young people when they're with you? How do you understand where to kind of shape their direction?
Yeah. Great. So I learned about the power of assessments when back I was I was in my 20s. I'd just left the military and I was looking for a job. I was 26 years old and I couldn't find a job at first. I was down at Fort Campbell. I was my husband at the time. We were stationed there. And so I started temping, trying to figure out what can I do with my life. And I was actually picked up to lead and start up a workforce innovation resource center for soldiers and their families who were being downsized due to the policy changes in the military at the time. And that's where, Ben, I was introduced to the whole world of using assessments, a variety of assessments. There's some really good tools out there to help individuals really be able to tap into their interest, their skills, their abilities. And when you're able to take that information, we use a variety of different assessments and then have that integrated into results that will show you whether it's 4 year, well, the occupation, and then how are you going to get there to create that career map. So, as part of our GT3S program, which is our Gateway to 3S program, we have four pillars: reflect, explore, expose, and experience. And reflect is all about undertaking and going through those assessments. It's not just a one and done. If you've ever taken an assessment, personality, behavior, we change. We go through life and some things change. And so it is an iterative process. What it does allow, though, is once someone does the assessments, they can actually have an idea of, you know what, I know for myself, there might be some new roles, careers that I'd never thought about that I could be considering. And we're all about self discovery and in that reflection phase. So, multiple uh, different types of assessments. We're super excited. We just signed an MOU today, actually, with another organization, another company that I think there's going to be some really cool synergies that's going to allow us to bring in some additional assessments and tools for our young folks that yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. 2026, we're really getting geared up for that.
That's awesome. What kind of keeps you motivated to keep doing this? Like, I mean, is it just the people that come through and the way that they come out of it after that? Um, what kind of keeps you going? Because this is quite a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort that you're putting into other people as well.
It is. It is. And I appreciate that question. What keeps me motivated is, as I started at the beginning, I've been that young person. I've been that next gen who's searching, who's looking, who needs guidance. I've also been that executive leader who has teams of thousands of people across the country, and who cannot find the necessary skill set to deliver, or quantity to deliver on a life critical mission. And so having your team members who are doing extra duty, who are pulling overtime to make sure the mission is met, I want to make sure that our companies, our employers, as we move forward, have the requisite talent pipelines that they need to do the mission. America, regardless of what you think, I am a big fan of America. This is the best country here on the planet. We have the largest GDP. We are the leaders of innovation. And our countries need talent as we navigate these new ways, just so many transformative forces going on right now. And so we want to be at the table as a supplier, as a partner of awesome talent to keep the infrastructure, the 3S workforce that we call, again, it's STEM, supply chain, skilled trades. It's the infrastructure of our country. It will keep our country running. It will keep our country innovative. It will keep our country safe, national security, and it will help our communities grow and thrive as well. So that's what keeps me motivated. It's the people side. So it's two sides of the bridge that we talk about, meeting in the middle, that co-creation. It's creating those pathways and the energy and the inspiration for the young people, and creating those pipelines for our country and our employers and corporations to keep going and thriving. That's what keeps me going.
That's awesome. It's great. Um, in terms of AI right now, I mean, what are your thoughts on AI replacing jobs, augmenting jobs, helping people? Like, what is your take on AI in the job market?
All of the above, Ben. All of the above. What I'll say about artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence is super cool. We as part of our program with Win NextGen, it's all about making artificial intelligence, AI, accessible to young folks. The more they're exposed to it, the more equipped they're going to be. AI also is an enabler. We use it in our technology. It's part of our platform. The fact that AI is able to I call it like co-participate with employees, with workers. Some people call them co-pilots or co-collaborators. That's a good thing. Some jobs definitely are changing because of AI. I was talking with a state official couple of months ago, and they told me, they said, we're not going to say any names. He said, my assistant, I can do that person's job completely with AI. I keep them though. And what I've done is they do constituent work, they do other work for me. So there are going to be jobs that shift, there are going to be jobs that change tremendously, and there are going to be new jobs that come into existence. What's going to be really key, it's really key for employers now, is to ensure that they're cultivating talent and understanding with people who know the work. They understand change management, and they can help use AI to augment, change, develop the actual processes and the workflows. AI is going to be able to do some of that. The humans are still are going to do parts of that. So as I look at where we are in terms of what we call the industry 5.0, it really is a collaboration of human with machine. I don't think AI will ever replace humans completely. Some people, will go to that extreme, but it will definitely be able to do some incredible work, and that we as humans need to be able to harness that and maximize it to its fullest potential in a good way. In a good way.
Are you already teaching people how to work with AI, or how like sharing with them how you think AI is going to disrupt their category?
We are. So we actually, for 2025, have an AI series taught by PhD doctor who's a data scientist to expose our next gens, and it's open. We've been parents. We want parents to be just as equipped with knowledge as their young people, because they're being impacted as well. So 2025 AI series will, I'm sure we'll run it again into 2026. We had our first Friday webinar kickoff. That'll be part of our 2026 programming. We did a teaser in October, and that was all about AI as a disruptor and being able to think about how it is used in the workforce and how leaders should be thinking about that. And we had two incredible experts come on board. One woman who is an executive working in a company that uses AI and develops AI assistants for companies, organizations, and another AI leader who is a co-founder of an AI company and does a lot of AI advising around the world, actually. So if folks missed it, they can check it out on our YouTube channel.
Mhm. So just the last question I have, like, what does the 5 to 10 year horizon look like for what you're doing right now? Where you see this going, basically?
Great question. We have a 5-year strategic plan. So we're in our first year. Win NextGen launched. Officially, public launch was August 1st of 2025. So we're babies. We're in our first, you think 30, 60, 90. We're just over that 90, still within our 120 days. And we're excited. 2026, we have a strategic target of at least 1,000 members, bringing in new members. And in 5 years, the sky is the limit. We really have verticals, a few verticals that we operate in. So being a partner with our employers, being partners with schools, K through 12, being partners with higher ed institutions, and then also our community organizations, homeschool communities, organizations that work with youth who may have been in the foster care system that are looking for tools and resources, organizations that have worked. We just signed with an organization in New York City that work with homeless youth who are looking for second chance opportunities. As I shared earlier, we cannot afford to leave any young person untapped. Everyone has potential. There's probably some type of job in our future of work that our young people can do today. And so in the next 5 years, we're going to be pounding hard to really ensure that we're making accessible these opportunities for our young people and creating those pathways for them and the pipelines for our partners. So that's
Well,
that's where we'll be. Maybe you can invite me back in 5 years and we can talk about it.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and doing this. I think it's really important what you're doing. I think a lot of young people today need to have more direction in general. So coming in there and helping to give them insights into how they can build for the future and learn and educate themselves for the future is really important. And so it's a great initiative, and I'm just excited to see it grow and the kind of people that are going to come out of it. What this next generation is going to look like.